So I've always been a bit of a worrywart. Ever since I was little, I'd be anxious about the future. Is this thing going to work out? I'd be anxious about the past. Did I say something stupid and that's going to come back to bite me? But it wasn't until just maybe in the last 2 weeks that I realized something about worry that had never occurred to me before. Worry is connected to pride. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, hey, what's up? My name is Reagan Rose. I talk about personal productivity from a Christian worldview for the glory of God. So listen, this last week, I gave a sermon at my church on 1 Peter chapter 5, right? It's about being humble. In that section, there's this verse that everybody knows, cast your cares on him, for he cares for you. And I had heard that verse. I grew up in the church. I know that one. I probably had to memorize it to earn like a star in some Sunday school class or something. But studying it in context opened my eyes to something, a connection I'd never realized before. And that's that worry and pride are very closely connected. Let me show you what I mean. Let me just read 1 Peter 5, verses 6 and 7 together, and you'll see what I mean. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that at the proper time he may exalt you, casting all your anxieties on him, because he cares for you. But the main verb in this sentence is humble yourselves. It's a command. He's not saying humble yourselves, and also, don't forget, here's an unrelated thing, cast your anxieties on him. He's saying that part of humbling yourself is casting your cares on God. And so if humility and anxiety are connected, then that means the opposite of humility, which is pride, is connected to worry. You know, we don't tend to think of worry and pride as being connected, because like you picture a worried type person, someone who's anxious all the time, the last thing you would accuse them of is pride, because they're quiet, maybe they're reserved, maybe they're shy. And a proud person, right, we think of that as loud and boisterous and obnoxious and in your face. And since humility and pride are matters of the heart, they will exhibit themselves in different ways in different personalities. And so what I mean is, even an introvert can be arrogant. This isn't like a passage that like diminishes our problems. The Bible doesn't say that like our problems aren't real or they aren't serious. Hey, just don't worry about it. It's no big deal. What it's saying instead is that no matter how big of a deal your problems are, your God is way bigger and he cares about you. And that should give you comfort, and that should lead you to trust him. And that should lead us all, whenever we're worried, to cast our cares upon him because he cares for us. Man, it's so simple, but it's so hard because I want to be in control. I really think that's the problem. You remember when Jesus is talking about anxiety and he tells them not to worry about tomorrow. Well, don't worry about what you're going to eat because look at the birds. God feeds the birds and he loves you more than birds. So don't worry about it. And then he talks about clothing. He said, God clothes the flowers and even the grass of the fields. But he loves you more than grass, doesn't he? So don't worry, God's going to take care of you. Just seek his kingdom and his righteousness, and all of those things will be added unto you. But sometimes we can be tempted to stop trusting God and start trusting ourselves. And so what I can do is when I start getting worried, I start feeling anxious, is I start trying to take matters into my own hands. I start thinking, well, maybe I can just think my way out of this problem. Or maybe if I just, fret about it long enough and turn it over my mind enough, I'll find a way to fix this thing, instead of just handing it over to God. And so it's prideful because I think that I can do a better job of fixing this thing or making my life better or overcoming some obstacle by doing it myself instead of handing it over to God. And that's arrogant. For me, this is probably the biggest thing is I don't doubt that God can help. I often doubt that he will. And I think a lot of times pride shows up in my anxiety and my worry when I doubt God's fatherly love for me. And that's really what I'm doing. I'm afraid that maybe he doesn't care, but God has shown that he cares. He's shown in sending his son to die for our sin, and he shows it daily in how he blesses us. And I mean, even this whole book is a record of the faithfulness of God towards his people. And so when we're tempted to worry, when we get scared, when we start fretting and we feel like, oh, I need to isolate, I need to get this under control, I just need to think about it long enough, I can get out of it. Hey, maybe that's pride. Maybe you're the same way as me. And I think the solution to it is to go to him in prayer and say, Lord, here are my concerns. Here are my worries. I'm scared. Will you help me? He might not solve our problem immediately because he's working together something bigger, something better for us, because it says he works all things together for our good. But my responsibility isn't to try and control every possible little thing. It's to trust. And isn't that a much better place to be? Well, guys, that's just something that I've been thinking about this week, and I wanted to share it with you. I hope that it was encouraging. I would love to hear from you. What are the things that get you the most worried? What gets you the most anxious in life? Well, thanks for watching the video. If you liked that and found it helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like so other people can find it. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.